The training yard of the Galactic Defense Corps buzzed with the usual pre-dawn activity as alien recruits from dozens of worlds prepared for another grueling day. The crystalline structures of the facility caught the light of 3 distant suns, casting prismatic shadows across the metallic ground where beings of every conceivable shape and size moved through their morning routines. In the center of this organized chaos stood Marcus Chen, the lone human among nearly 200 alien recruits. His standard-issue gray uniform looked unremarkable against the exotic hides, scales, and biomechanical augmentations of his fellow soldiers in training. At barely 6 feet tall and weighing less than most of his alien counterparts' limbs, Marcus had become accustomed to the stares and whispered comments that followed him wherever he went. The Vorthack contingent was particularly vocal in their skepticism. These towering, insectoid warriors from the heavy-gravity world of Kepler 442b stood nearly 9 feet tall, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming like polished obsidian. Their 4 arms moved with mechanical precision, each capable of crushing stone with minimal effort. They had dominated the physical training exercises since the program began, and they never let anyone forget it. "Look at the little pink thing," chittered Zewexthera, the largest of the Vorthack, her mandibles clicking in what passed for laughter among her species. "How did something so fragile even survive the journey here?" Her squad mates joined in the mockery, their translator devices rendering their alien speech into the common tongue with mechanical indifference. "Perhaps it's a new type of combat ration," suggested another, causing a wave of clicking laughter to ripple through the group. Marcus kept his expression neutral as he completed his stretching routine. 3 months of this treatment had taught him that reacting only made it worse. The instructors, primarily Zentorian military veterans with their characteristic blue-gray skin and tactical mindset, maintained that interspecies friction was part of the training process. "If you can't handle words," drill instructor Colthes had explained, "you'll never handle plasma fire." The morning's exercise involved weapons familiarization, specifically with the Corps' standard heavy assault weapons. The recruits were arranged around a display table containing an array of firearms that would have looked at home in a science fiction museum. Energy rifles, plasma cannons, and gravitational disruptors lay in neat rows, each designed to be operated by the average Galactic Defense Corps soldier. "Today, you will demonstrate your proficiency with the Mk7 gravitational lance," announced instructor Colthes, her voice carrying easily across the training yard. "This weapon represents the pinnacle of our defensive technology, capable of disrupting enemy formations at ranges exceeding 2 kilometers. The Mk7 was an imposing piece of equipment. Nearly 5 feet in length and constructed from dense polymer composites and rare earth elements, it featured a complex array of gravitational field generators that required significant upper body strength to operate effectively. The weapon's weight distribution was notoriously difficult to manage, even for species adapted to high-gravity environments. The Vorthack recruits stepped forward eagerly, their confidence evident in their synchronized movements. Zewexthera lifted the first Mk7 with 2 of her 4 arms, the weapon looking almost manageable in her powerful grip. She sighted down the barrel with practiced ease, her natural stability allowing her to hold the weapon steady despite its substantial mass. "Excellent form, recruit Zewexthera," acknowledged instructor Colthes. "The Vorthack physiology is well suited to heavy weapons operation." One by one, the other alien recruits took their turns. The Draknari, with their dense bone structure and massive frames, handled the weapons with brute force. The Etherian contingent, beings of living energy housed in mechanical bodies, manipulated the gravitational fields through direct interface with their synthetic nervous systems. Even the smaller species, like the quick-moving Zephyrians, managed to demonstrate basic competency through technique and leverage. Finally, it was Marcus's turn. The whispers and clicking sounds resumed as he approached the weapons table. Several recruits had gathered to witness what they assumed would be an embarrassing display of human inadequacy. "Perhaps we should start you with something more appropriate to your size," suggested Zewexthera, her tone dripping with false concern. "The training sabers are quite lightweight." Marcus ignored the comment and examined the remaining Mk7 gravitational lance. Up close, the weapon was even more intimidating than it had appeared from a distance. The gravitational field generators alone probably weighed more than most human firearms. Complex readouts and control surfaces covered the weapon's surface, indicating the sophisticated technology packed into its frame. Without ceremony, Marcus reached down and lifted the Mk7 lance with both hands. The weapon rose smoothly from the table, and he brought it up to a proper firing position with fluid, economical movement. The gravitational lance, which had required even the powerful Vorthack to brace themselves for stability, seemed to pose no particular challenge to the human recruit. The training yard fell silent. Even the constant background hum of the facility's system seemed to fade as 200 alien eyes focused on the human who was somehow managing to hold their heaviest weapon as if it were a standard infantry rifle. Marcus adjusted his grip slightly, feeling the weapon's balance point. Earth's gravity was roughly 1.2 times standard galactic average, and its oxygen-rich atmosphere had driven the evolution of remarkably efficient cardiovascular and muscular systems in humans. What the aliens saw as a fragile, lightweight creature was actually the product of millions of years of adaptation to a world that would be considered a high-gravity, high-oxygen death trap by most galactic species. He sighted down the weapon's targeting system, his breathing steady and controlled. The Mk7's weight, which would have been crushing to most beings from low-gravity worlds, felt substantial but manageable in his grip. His muscles, accustomed to constantly fighting Earth's gravitational pull, barely registered the strain. Recruit Chen, called Instructor Colthes, her voice carefully neutral despite the obvious surprise in her large, dark eyes, please demonstrate the standard firing stance sequence. Marcus smoothly transitioned through the required positions, standing supported, kneeling braced, and prone. With each movement, the massive weapon remained perfectly controlled, its complex system stabilizing under his steady grip. The gravitational field generators hummed with power as they synchronized with his biometric readings, the weapon's artificial intelligence recognizing the competent handling it was receiving. The demonstration concluded with Marcus returning the Mk7 to its display mount with the same casual ease he had shown throughout the exercise. The weapon settled into place with a soft magnetic click, leaving the training yard in continued stunned silence. Zwaxthara's mandibles had stopped clicking entirely. Her forearms hung motionless at her sides as she processed what she had witnessed. Around the yard, alien recruits exchanged glances and quiet comments in their native languages, their translator devices working overtime to convey concepts of surprise and reassessment. Outstanding, Recruit Chen, announced Instructor Colthes, breaking the silence. Report to Advanced Weapons Training tomorrow at 0600 hours. As the other recruits dispersed to their next training rotation, Marcus caught Zwaxthara's compound eyes watching him with newfound respect. The Vorthack warrior approached slowly, her massive frame somehow seeming less intimidating than it had that morning. Human Marcus, she said, her translator rendering her formal tone with unusual clarity, I believe I may have underestimated your species' capabilities. Marcus nodded acknowledgement, then surprised her by extending his hand in the traditional human gesture of respect between warriors. We all have something to learn here, Zwaxthara. Perhaps we could train together sometime. The Vorthack's mandibles clicked once in what Marcus had learned was their equivalent of a smile. I would be honored, Warrior Marcus. As the three suns climbed higher in the alien sky, the training yard resumed its normal rhythm of activity. But something fundamental had shifted in the dynamic between the human recruit and his alien comrades.